actually, now that I think about it, pretty much everybody goes into the NFL needing some level of development. And it's just interesting to me how quickly a lot of people seem to expect that process to happen. Do you ever feel like they're just like unrealistic expectations put on you, or like the evaluation of your play a little bit?
I mean, everyone develops at different speeds. Some guys it takes a little bit longer. Some guys will get it down faster. I definitely see what you mean by like upside, because it can take a couple of years for a guy. Because there's some people in the league that started playing when they got to the league. You know, like there's people that didn't start playing football until like college. You know what I mean? Like until like junior year of college, or like like didn't start playing until like senior year of high school, and they just had like the raw talent of an athlete, and the coach is like, I can work with that. You know what I mean? And that has that's valuable in itself, because there's people like, I mean, people go in the first round off of raw talent, you know, and if you can raw talent your way into the first round, like there's a ton of upside, because it's like you don't even have the full picture of the technique and the things that are going to be able to take you to the next level, but you just are that athletic to where they're like, I need you on my team, you know? So,
and I think you've seen some examples of that this year.
I think Guyton, the guy that we got, actually, I don't know, from what I think I heard something about him not playing. He started as a D lineman and then has only been playing O-line for a few years, but just off of the talent, you know what I mean? And like the body, like the size and just the length and everything, like he's a first round draft pick. So there's a lot of upside there, you know, because we have good coaches, we have really good vets and guys that will be able to teach him a lot of game. And like, you know what I mean? With that, you have a lot of upside because you know he's going to be able to develop into a really good player.
Right. As you were talking about people who can raw talent their way into the first round, actually, the person who came to my mind actually was Guyton, because that was one of the most interesting things to me about his story, was learning that, one, he started off as a basketball player in high school, and then he basically had to be convinced after suffering an injury to try football, and then, was a D lineman, and then eventually went to O-line. So in terms of learning the technique for what he's going to be doing, he's got a lot of work to do, but he seems really ready to do the work. Just from listening to him talking to me about his mindset, I'm actually like really excited. But when it comes to the draft and new players being taken in, like I really do think what you hit on about like what coaches see in terms of raw talent, that plays a big role, because I think a lot of times it really just comes down to what do the coaches see and what do they feel like they can do with, you know? And it's not always just about, is this player actually a good player? Like there's no definition of that. It's just like, who's watching it?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you don't have the talent or the ability to, you know what I mean? If you're not athletic enough, you're probably not going to make it to the NFL. Like, there's got to be a level of just God-given talent that you have that's gotten you to this point. You know what I mean? And then there's people that have like built it in the lab, you know? But even then, there's still a level of talent there that they developed and crafted and worked on. But like as a coach, knowing if you're confident in your ability to teach the game, like an athlete would make it exciting, you know what I mean? Because it's like, once if I can get this guy right, like, you know, they see the potential that the athlete themselves might not see, you know? And like I said, if you're confident in your ability to teach the game, like, you know, the upside that's there and the potential that you could tap into, especially knowing like coaches that have been at it for a while, they can look at a guy and compare their body type to another player's body type that they've seen before. So, you know, I like, one of the things that I've noticed is that like people don't really find new things under the sun that kind of replace what's worked for them in the past. So I feel like that's what a lot of coaches do, is like they'll try and find something that's similar to a guy that they've had in the past that they really liked, or something that was really successful. And they'll kind of, one, give you a lot of film and cut us on who you should watch and stuff like that. And, you know, if you got good vets that are going to be able to help teach and just make it a little bit easier for the coach too, like if you got a good environment and good culture, then the guy's going to be able to put in the work. He's going to be willing to put in the work. And if they got the good mindset, like, it's going to make it that much easier to get them up to speed, you know?
Absolutely. I feel like one of the ways that we got on that topic was via one of our mutual favorite topics, which is anime. We were talking about shonen yesterday. And one of the things that's been really interesting to me from being anime fan who's also doing this sports podcast is just like all the parallels between the things that shonen protagonists will go to in order to excel, and some of the things that athletes will go through in order to get better at what they do. Is that something that like ever inspires you, or is like anime more of just like a pastime, something that's entertaining?
I would say it's more of a pastime and something that's entertaining. I have inspiration just from everywhere. I do draw the parallels a lot, and that makes it a little bit more relatable. Can kind of make it more interesting to watch and just kind of give you goosebumps as you're watching things, because it's like, dang, like, you know, he's working so hard to get to the point where, you know what I mean, where he can overcome all these obstacles. He has all the doubt that he's dealing with and whatnot, you know, just like I do, but he's still working just like the same regardless. So I guess it is kind of inspiring, you know, but there's so many parallels that you can just draw through anime and just like the protagonists and what they go through and like the struggles that you go through as an athlete. I would say, I guess my reason, the inspiration, I wouldn't say it's inspiring in a way, but like for me, it's a little bit more entertainment based, you know, just because like I'm like, oh wow, I can relate to that. You know, it just makes it that much more interesting to watch.
But I need to understand why you think the storyline of Naruto is
better. I think just in terms of like, I think there's gems about like, not to say there's not gems about life in Bleach. I think that one is really about like resolve and just like, you know what I mean? Just about belief in yourself. And that's really ultimately what it comes down to, is Ichigo like believing in his own power and trusting his own power and like realizing that he is strong enough to like defeat any obstacle, you know? But like Naruto is just cool because in terms of story, like he has every reason to go down the wrong path, every reason to end up being like, you know, just a complete bum and just hated by the village, like could end up being like a huge troublemaker or even like, you know what I mean, a villain, to be honest. But he overcomes all those obstacles and like he never gives up on his dream. Like he never changes up his ways, like, you know what I mean? And he sticks to like his morals through it all. And he even convinces like some of the villains along the way and like gets them to change their heart, right? And then just some of the gems that are dropped in like some of the speeches is like, dang, like that, like you could really think about that and like apply it to your life. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're a fan of the Talk no Jutsu?
Actually, I'm not gonna lie, you know. And then just like the fact that the dude, he really didn't have any talent. He had just a lot of chakra. Obviously, he had potential. He had nothing but potential. Really.
I would actually say he had some talent because like the jutsu that he came up with on his own, he executed very well. He needed guidance. I think, you know, to connect back to what we were talking about earlier, he's one of those guys who like kind of raw talented his way into the upper echelon of ninjas, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes sense too. I'm like, I would say he definitely had the talent. The talent, it was definitely raw. That makes a lot more sense because he had all the chakra. And you know what I mean? He just really needed to learn how to control them and become like more skilled. But he had the mindset of like never giving up. And you know what I mean? And he was able to catch up because he had that mindset. He worked so hard and he was like putting in the work consistently, right? And yeah, I just think the whole show was dope. Especially when you just like as an athlete, you know, the consistency, the training, the never giving up through all the doubts, the ups and downs, and just staying true to like your goals, and then him achieving that goal, you know, at the end of the show and becoming the Hokage. You know, that's so dope, especially just like, and you get to see him grow up from being 12 to the time like 16. Like, I feel like there's not too many shows that like do that. Besides like maybe One Piece, you know, you get to see them all grow up too. But yeah. I just felt like that one is just like, as an athlete, is extremely, extremely relatable, you know?